Hi, today I'm talking about Son of Billabong, which was published in 1939. It contains the race, class, gender themes that you'd expect of a book from 39, and it's really good, so stick around. Right, it opens the Kunji trial of McGill. There's a foxy little lawyer who most of the Lintons deal with quite well, but Wally gets upset because he doesn't want Nora to have to come to the courts. Of course, McGill is convicted because he's guilty. And when he is convicted, a mystery woman in the court faints. Turns out that is Mrs. Benton, McGill's wife. She has lost her child, and the doctor who treats her advises her to adopt. Meanwhile, back at Billabong, they're getting ready for Tommy and Jim's wedding. Wally falls asleep when they're having an afternoon tea, and Jim's a bit worried that he's not his usual self, and he thinks maybe he shouldn't go on his honeymoon. But Nora says, no, you should go to Tasmania. We're going to go on a touring holiday. So she and Wally and Davy go off on a touring holiday. They meet another family who have children, which Davy really likes. Then they go to the ocean, which is like a big lagoon, and they have lots of fun there. They leave Davy with a babysitter one day, and he disappears. And it appears that he's been killed, but he hasn't, which Nora knows because he had promised that he wouldn't go into the ocean. Actually, he'd been knocked out, and been kidnapped by Mrs. Benton, who takes him back, dresses him as a girl, calls him Daisy. However, somebody who knows Davy and the Lintons and the Meadows spots him and recognises him by the way he speaks, and meanwhile, simultaneously, Mrs. Benton repents of being unkind, and she gets the key bit of information from Davy that dog that bit McGill was not told to bite him, which she had thought he was. It had just done it of its own accord. See, it turned out to be pivotal, that dog biting him. So she is bringing Davy back to Billabong. At the same time, the Billabong people are rushing out to find him. They meet in the driveway, and they're all reunited. It's a happy ending, and they decide not to prosecute Mrs. Benton because being married to McGill is harsh enough punishment for anyone. Rescues. So Wally rescues some straying cattle. The person he rescues the cattle for is the one who recognises Davy. And Mrs. Benton does pick Davy up when he's knocked out, but she does then kidnap him. But then she changes her mind and she brings him back. So I don't know if you call that a rescue or not. Right, finally, Bruce's obsession with writing dialogue pays off, because that is how Davy is recognised, because his language has been influenced by Murty with Irish, Brownie with Ochre Australian, Lee Wing with Chinese, and Billy with Aboriginal dialects. So he's digging in a creek and he shouts out, "Plenty mind dig 'em welly good channel auntie," and that is how he's recognised. So all of my complaints about the dialogue, it finally pays off. Nora explains his friends are of different nationalities, although actually they're all Australian, it's just they have different accents. Right. Much is made of all the other characters in the book, looking at Nora and going, oh no, how terrible, this poor woman, she just doesn't acknowledge that her child is dead, because it appears that he's dead, because it looks like he's been swept out to sea. She's like, no, he can't have gone out to sea because he said he'd never get into the water, and he always keeps his word. And of course she is right. That is because in the Billabong books, missing are always found, the dead are not really dead, the apparently dead come back, the charm circle is not broken. And this is particularly heartbreaking in light of Bruce's own lived experience. Her son Pat died at the age of 12 in 1929 after a gun accident. He'd promised not to touch the gun, and his last words were, "Sorry, God." And that's even worse. Her brother had died in 1885 at the age of 11 in a hunting accident with a gun again. And I can't think that it's a coincidence that the key emotional relationship that she writes about is between a brother and a sister, and that in her universe these bad things just don't happen. I mean, you can't make a straightforward link between someone's experiences and their writing, but she writes about intense, fulfilling relationships between brothers and sisters in a world where at the end things always work out. The droughts break, bushfires are averted, the houses are rebuilt, people don't actually die. And overall, what do I think of it? Well, I think it's a return to form. It's great that the bloody gold mine has finally been left behind us, and this is excellent, and it's also a payoff on the dialect, the payoff that we've been waiting for since 1910. So, yay that finally there's some point in having these distinct forms of pidgin English for all of the minor characters. It's because they then taught it to Davy, and that was how Davy could be identified. So it's the only kid who speaks like someone raised by Aboriginal, Chinese, Irish Australians.